The wrestling community has received some deeply upsetting news this week. We've learned that Mike Rotunda, a beloved and highly respected figure from WWE's past, has entered hospice care. He is 67 years old. If you're finding this story meaningful, please take a second to subscribe to our channel. It really helps us continue bringing you these important updates from the wrestling world. For the millions who remember watching him on their television screens, a performer who could make you laugh one moment and command your respect the next, this announcement has been a heavy blow. As soon as the news became public, an outpouring of love, support, and profound sadness filled social media. Wrestlers, lifelong fans, and industry insiders all began sharing stories about a man who was so much more than an athlete. He was a guide, a dad, and a dear friend to many. The person who shared this difficult news was Mike's brother-in-law and his longtime tag team partner, Barry Windham. In a recent interview, Barry opened up, his words weighted with emotion, stating, "It's kind of tough right now. Mike is in hospice." That simple sentence was enough to bring a hush over the entire wrestling world, serving as a powerful reminder that even our most resilient heroes are human. Yet, for the fans who watched him command the ring for years, Mike Rotunda's story is about so much more than this current sorrow. It is a legacy constructed on determination, family, and moments that will never be forgotten. And while this chapter is undoubtedly painful, it also highlights the incredible bonds of loyalty that define the wrestling family. But to truly understand that, we have to go back to the beginning, to the real man behind the legendary character we all came to know. Long before he became famous as the sharp-tongued tax collector in the WWE, Mike Rotunda was already making a name for himself inside the ring. An accomplished athlete from his days at Syracuse University, he stepped into the world of professional wrestling in the early 1982. This was an era defined by outsized personalities and pure physical prowess. Audiences first saw his technical skill when he joined forces with Barry Windham, creating one of the most successful teams of their time. Together, they captured multiple tag team championships and won the admiration of both the crowd and their fellow wrestlers. Their partnership was seamless, a perfect combination of ability, charm, and mutual trust. However, it was when Mike transformed into Erwin R. Schister, or simply I.R.S., that he became a truly permanent part of wrestling history. Dressed in a white shirt, red tie, and suspenders, he would scold the audience about filing their taxes, and then he would make his opponents pay the price in the ring. His smug attitude, cutting promos, and masterful understanding of the sport psychology made him one of the most delightfully entertaining villains of the early 1990s. Teaming up with Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, Mike formed the notorious Money Incorporated, a pair that ruled tag team wrestling and battled against icons like Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake. Every time I.R.S. walked to the ring, briefcase in hand, the audience knew they were about to see something special. Yet, behind this villainous character was a man who was deeply respected by everyone behind the curtain. He was quiet, humble, and utterly professional, the kind of experienced wrestler that newcomers aspired to be. He led not with his ego, but through his actions. Decades later, his influence is still felt, both through the stars he helped guide and through his own children, who would go on to carry the family name into a new age of wrestling excellence. But as brightly as his legacy shines in the ring, it is his family story, a tale of great success and deep heartache that truly shows us the heart of the man behind the legend. Wrestling was not just Mike Rotunda's job, it was the very pulse of his family. Born into a legacy of athletes, Mike built a dynasty that carried the Rotunda-Windham name across multiple generations of wrestling greatness. He was married to Stephanie Windham, the sister of his tag team partner, Barry Windham, which tied his life directly to one of wrestling's most famous families. Together, they raised 3 children, Windham Rotunda, Taylor Rotunda, and Mika Rotunda, all of whom grew up immersed in the world of wrestling. His sons, of course, became famous in their own right. Windham, known across the globe as Bray Wyatt, changed modern wrestling with his captivating charisma and deep psychological stories. His character blurred the line between fantasy and reality, seizing the imagination of fans in a way very few have managed. And Taylor, who performed as Bo Dallas, brought his own unique energy and charm to the WWE, proving that the Rotunda family legacy was still vibrant and moving forward. Away from the bright lights, Mike was not just their father, he was their coach. He taught them the discipline, humility, and respect that defined his own career. He wasn't loud or showy. Instead, he taught by quiet example. Many people say that the best advice Bray and Bo ever received didn't come from a producer or a trainer. It came from their dad, right in their living room, showing them how to tell a story inside the ring. Then, tragedy struck in 2023 when Wyndham, adored by millions as Bray Wyatt, died suddenly at just 36 years old. The loss devastated the wrestling community and left a deep wound in the heart of the Rotunda family. For Mike, it was more than losing a son. It was like losing a piece of his own spirit, a creative force who was taking his legacy to places he could only imagine. Even through this profound grief, the Rotunda family has stood as a symbol of strength. Their legacy is not merely about winning titles, it's about resilience, love, and the unbreakable power of family. And now, as fans mourn and celebrate that legacy, new worries about Mike's health have brought back that same wave of emotion throughout the wrestling world. The moment the news broke that Mike Rotunda had been placed in hospice care, the wrestling world seemed to pause. Within hours, tributes, prayers, and emotional memories began to flow in from legends who had shared the ring and traveled the roads with him. Barry Windham, Mike's brother-in-law and longtime tag team partner, was one of the first to speak. In a heartfelt interview, Barry's voice trembled as he said, "It's kind of tough right now. Mike is in hospice. I love that family. It's just so tragic." His words carried the weight of decades, two men who built their lives together, now facing the most painful of moments. Soon after, wrestling veteran Leilani Kai shared a tender message on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, posting a picture of herself hugging Mike earlier this year. Her caption read, "It breaks my heart to share that my friend Mike Rotunda has been placed under hospice care. Please keep Mike and the Rotunda family in your prayers. We love you, Mike." Fans from all over the world echoed her request, filling comment sections with messages of love, thanks, and shared sorrow. Even stars from newer generations, some who had never had the chance to meet Mike, paid their respects to the man behind one of wrestling's most iconic characters. Many recalled watching Erwin R. Shister I.R.S. when they were young, booing, laughing, or cheering, not realizing how much the man behind the persona had shaped the wrestling business they came to love. The WWE community, often defined by its intense rivalries and larger-than-life conflicts, found itself united in grief and respect. Posts poured in from past and present wrestlers, sharing memories of Mike's kindness behind the scenes, how he would offer guidance to new wrestlers, tell old road stories that had everyone in stitches, or quietly help someone improve their performance. Even without any official statements from the WWE at the time, the emotional reaction made it clear that Mike Rotunda was not just a character on television. He was family to the wrestling world. But as messages of love continue to arrive, many fans are looking back at what made Mike Rotunda's career so memorable, and how his influence still resonates in every part of professional wrestling. Even after he stepped away from active competition, Mike Rotunda's famous alter ego, Erwin R. Shister, better known as I.R.S., never really left the public consciousness. For countless fans, that smug smile, crisp white shirt, red tie, and those suspenders became an enduring symbol of wrestling's golden age. He was the man who made the idea of paying taxes strangely entertaining. The brilliance of the I.R.S. character was its mix of humor, relatability, and sheer arrogance. At a time when wrestling was populated by superheroes and outlandish gimmicks, Rotunda's taxman felt different because he was a villain you could actually believe meeting in your daily life. He didn't need any special powers, just a briefcase, a calculator, and a superior lecture about financial duty. The audience loved to despise him. Every time he took the microphone and accused the crowd of being tax cheats, the arena would fill with boos and laughter in equal measure. He had a perfect sense of how to get a reaction, a talent that made him one of the most enjoyable villains of the 1,990 seconds. Under the I.R.S. I.R.S. name, Mike joined forces with Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man himself, to create one of wrestling's most unforgettable teams. Together, they built storylines that played with themes of greed, power, and arrogance, feuding with legends like Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake. But what truly set Mike apart was how much of his own personality he brought to the role. In interviews years later, he explained that the I.R.S. character was part acting and part a parody of the real world, a reflection of the bureaucratic system people love to hate, turned into brilliant sports entertainment. And even decades later, he never really stopped being I.R.S. Earlier this year, in a rare social media post, Mike wrote on X, "I'm back on X and the books are still open. Some of you may have forgotten how this business really works, but I haven't. The numbers never lie. The debts are still outstanding, and trust me, I always collect." That line instantly spread like wildfire among wrestling fans. It was a reminder that the character, the cleverness, and the spirit of Mike Rotunda were still very much alive. But beyond the gimmicks and the championships, there was something more meaningful. A man whose love for his craft shaped generations of wrestlers, including his own sons and daughter. As the wrestling world offers its support for Mike Rotunda, one thing is perfectly clear. His impact extends far beyond the ring. He was not just a performer, a character, or a footnote in wrestling history. He was a cornerstone, a teacher, a father, and an inspiration to countless wrestlers who walked the path he helped to pave. Thank you for watching. If you appreciated this look back at Mike Rotunda's incredible life and legacy, please show your support by subscribing to our channel and turning on notifications so you never miss an update.